Hi, I'm Grant from Blackmagic Design, and today I'd love to show you the new DeckLink Duo 2. DeckLink Duo 2 solves the problem of developers who want to design multi-channel HD systems with one simple card. This new model also handles 3G SDI, so it supports high HD frame rates up to 10.
Let's bring in Yuko Fukushima for the latest in business.
So Yuko, U.S. protectionism is dominating trade discussions worldwide, and the country's the tariffs, the steel import tariffs, is topping the agenda. Japan is looking for an exemption. How likely is that going to happen?
Well, no one knows for sure what's going to happen, but Japanese steelmakers are scrambling to get their products on that exemption list. There isn't much time left before the U.S. starts to collect those levies, so companies may be getting some help to make their cases. Now, one place it's coming from is the meeting of G20 finance ministers and central bank governors in Buenos Aires. Officials have concluded their first day of talks, which have been focusing on global economic risks. They expressed concern over U.S. President Donald Trump's new tariffs on steel and aluminum that are set to come into effect on Friday.
Growth has returned worldwide, in the U.S., in Europe. It would be a pity to undermine this growth with a trade war.
The mayor says the EU should be exempt from the tariffs because Europe has friendly relations with the U.S. Brazil's finance minister was also critical of the Trump administration. Enrique Meirelles says it would be harmful to return to the trade wars of the 1930s when countries imposed tariffs on each other. Japan's state minister of finance also sounded a warning.
Protectionism and inward-looking ideology would shrink the global economy. It would also have a negative impact on consumers, and it would not benefit any country.
Kihara says many G20 members share that view. With President Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum soon to become reality, countries around the world are hoping their products will get exemptions. The U.S. is trying to exclude Canada, Mexico, and Australia from the new rules, but there's been nothing about Japan at this point. The Trump administration did say that it will exclude products that are difficult to procure domestically. Commerce Department officials will make their decision based on requests by American companies that use imported steel and aluminum and are seeking exemptions. They began accepting those applications on Monday. Japanese Trade Minister Hiroshige Seko says there's a good chance that some of the country's steel and aluminum products will not be affected.
Japanese steel and aluminum goods are contributing to U.S. industries, and many of those products have few substitutes. So some of the Japanese products will very likely be excluded.
Seko notes Japanese manufacturers are urging their U.S. customers to submit applications to shield their products from tariffs. He says the government will continue to maintain Japanese products do not pose a threat to U.S. national security. Policymakers at the U.S. Federal Reserve are gathering this week to decide on monetary policy. Well, this will be the first Fed meeting where new Chair Jerome Powell will take the helm. We asked a former senior Fed official for his thoughts on what we can expect from the meeting and on the Powell era.
I think probably the FOMC will raise interest rates 25 basis points at this meeting. The main question will really be focused on how many times they might raise rates this year. I expect they will do 4 rate hikes this year, but what I don't know is whether they're ready to say that this time. For a few years, the concerns have been that inflation was too low. It was below the 2% target. The last few months, inflation's come up. And there are, good reasons to expect that will stay the case because the economy is much stronger. I suspect a year from now we will be slightly above target, which isn't bad.
Gannon notes that Jerome Powell's style of communication may be quite different from that of his predecessor, Janet Yellen, and that's all the more reason to pay attention to Powell's debut press conference as Fed chair.
Janet Yellen was more cautious and was less willing to talk about how she might change her mind or how the committee might change its views. I think Jerome Powell seemed a bit more willing to speculate on, well, the data are turning stronger and that might lead us to change our view in this way, which is a bit more open. And that is the kind of thing I think people will be looking for at the press conference.
Gannon also stressed the Bank of Japan should not be affected by future Fed moves. He said the BOJ should not rush toward tapering its aggressive monetary easing program, even if the Federal Reserve decides to accelerate the pace of its rate hikes.